Sleepy Hollow Season 2, Episode 6, and The Abyss Gazes Back. This is definitely a really good episode, but after seeing the preview for next week's episode, that's kind of all I really want to talk about because it seems like next week is going to be really, really insane. But this one was definitely really good. We got to learn about our former Chief Corbin, which was really cool. We got to find out that he actually has a son, and I love the story of the son where he kind of had a distant relationship with his father, so he actually left to go to war because of that. And he kind of hates Abbie because she was kind of just the kid off the street, and she had a closer connection to his father than he did. So I kind of enjoyed the fact that he had a really good reason where it's like it was almost her fault really for sort of tearing them apart. But I thought that was really cool, and by the end, of course, they come together and they're fine, and they're a lot like family, which they kind of are really since they've known each other for so long. But I thought that was really cool. I enjoyed his story. The fact that Henry infected him, and it was really cool that they used the bone. We got to see exactly why he wanted the bone from the Pied Piper episode, why he was crushing it up, and what he used it for was he enchanted it basically, and he could just turn anyone into a Wendigo. So that was really cool, and we got to see that happen. And fortunately, things worked out in the end. So Joey was able to survive as a human, and he didn't get killed off. But I really enjoyed that storyline where I always love the ones where they have such a personal connection, and this one I enjoy even more because it actually gave us cool backstory that we never even knew, and hopefully somewhere down the line we'll get to see Joey again, and maybe wherever he ends up going off to, he'll be secretly looking into occult things and training on his own, and then he'll come back in one random episode this season. And it's like, hey, I've got turned into a demon. Kind of couldn't let that go, so I've been practicing on my own. So I'd like to see him come back, and maybe we get more information about our old Chief Corbin, through him because he was the son. But I enjoyed that. Everything we got to see in this one, it was fairly straightforward. It was no sort of, not too much, I would say, was really outside of the main storyline. And then the small stuff that we did have was really, really amazing. And that was the stuff with Irving. And it really, like, watching this episode, all I could think was, like, he has the worst storyline. And not worse as in it's bad, worst as in it just really sucks for him. Like, he just gets screwed over all the time. Like, he's in an asylum basically. His soul is gone. He signed his soul away. The only way he can keep his soul is if he kills another guy, which was probably a trick by Henry, and that's probably what seals the deal to have his soul taken. And it was just crazy. It's like he doesn't really have anything that he can do. He's just stuck there. And then in this episode, when he runs into the guy who actually paralyzed his daughter, which was really crazy. I didn't know what was going to happen with that one. But I enjoyed that as well. And Henry just, he does what he does. He manipulates people, and you never really know. Like I said, him saying that if Irving kills someone else, then a soul for a soul, and Irving will be saved himself. You never really know if that's true. I mean, he made him sign his soul away. You can't really trust anything this guy says. Who knows? And he kind of proved that with Joey when he said he would cure him, and then of course he just triggered him, and it was supposed to be for the final time. But I really love the stuff we got with Irving. I hope things really work out for him. It seems like right now he is seriously just trapped. Like, he signed his soul away without knowing, of course. Who knows if he can actually get rid of, having sold his soul away by killing someone else. And if he can, even that would weigh on him. Even in this episode, it weighed on him. And the whole thing about the Abyss Gazes Back, he can't become a monster by killing another monster who is, of course, the drunk guy that actually ended up paralyzing his daughter. So I really loved what we got with him, and he's just down in the dumps. And he actually told Abbie in this episode, like, hey, I sold my soul away by accident. I'm kind of screwed here, and I trust you guys to find the cure, but for now I'm kind of just screwed over. So I really enjoy, I guess I enjoy of how depressing his storyline really is, but of course I want him to come out of this alive, because he was really kind of the comedic relief in season 1, because he was this real skeptic person, and even after that he was still like the funny character, like, okay, I'm trying to balance being chief with this crazy supernatural crap going on. And I really enjoyed his character. He was the most upbeat character really, outside of Ichabod just being silly and kind of in this time period, and so that just creates silly stuff. But I enjoyed his character, and in this, he's just hit with so much crap. Like, just one after another, he gets hit with crap. So I enjoy how dark it is for his character, but I really want to see him get out of this okay. But I really enjoyed that. The main storyline was really good. We even got some silly stuff. I really love the stuff with Ichabod playing games at the end. I thought that was hilarious because I love playing video games, so that really stood out to me. And it was something that he actually found because they were doing yoga in the beginning and he hated that. And then by then he actually found that games do work much better for him than yoga does. So they probably won't show that too often. It's just like the new modern thing that he found in this episode. But I thought it was really funny just the way he was talking to the people online. It's much more kid friendly compared to actual online gaming. But I really loved it. I thought it was a funny, cool scene. And we had everyone in this one. We got to see Holly in this. He was only in it for a little bit. Based on the preview for this, I kind of thought everyone was just going to be in it for the entire thing. But really, it was just like he was in it for a little bit, and Jenny was in it for a little bit too. And in the scenes where they're together, they kind of hint at the fact that he might actually have a thing for Abbie, and that's the only reason he's staying. So if that's true, that'll probably cause a bit of conflict because Jenny obviously was with him at some point. So, things will probably get weird at some point in the future, but I definitely enjoyed this one. We even got to see Ichabod and Holly actually team up, and they were the only two when they went to find the shaman, so I enjoyed that scene too, especially when he had the skull and he was like, I don't remember anything about the blood of the demon or Wendigo blood. He was like, oh, we talked about it in detail, and look, it's right here. I enjoyed that because we don't really get that too much out of Ichabod, where he just hates somebody, and you can tell that's how he feels about Holly. So overall, I thought this was a great episode. I I don't think it's my favorite, but it's probably my second favorite right now. I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was good overall. Of course, I'm very excited for next week's episode. I didn't think that we would actually get to see exactly what Henry wanted to do with the poison. I can't think of the name of it, but it instantly gets put straight to use, and we kind of find out in the preview for next week's episode exactly what they meant when they said that Katrina was a really good vessel, and she's a vessel for Malik, unless they kind of manipulated the preview, which could have easily happened. That's what previews are for, really, to trick people into thinking one thing, and then it's like, oh, that's not at all the storyline. But hopefully that is the story where she is actually giving birth to the physical form of Malik in our dimension. So I'm excited for next week's episode. It, how this one ended, it kind of just shows how little Henry really gives a crap. Like he's focused on the mission. Like he always had his issues. Like she's kind of tricking the horsemen, and so he was always worried about her, and that's kind of why he did what he did in last week's episode. But he really went full force, and they're going for the gold in this one, and we're gonna have to wait and see. But I'm very excited. I thought this was a great episode for some cool history that we didn't even know. We got introduced to a new character who, like I said, hopefully comes back. I really enjoyed him. But comment below, let me know what you guys thought about this one, your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And based on that preview, how do you guys think next week's episode is gonna go? With it being so early, I have to assume she's not gonna give birth to Malik, but I feel like something big has to come out of that, like all the lies and Ichabod having his issues with Katerina from hiding all these different secrets and just her almost dying in general. That's going to bring up something very, very important. So I'm looking forward to just seeing what that is. I'm sure it's going to be between Katerina and Ichabod, whatever it is. But that's what I really want to see. But put your thoughts down below, and thanks for watching.